This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by domain.com.
Hello, welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen. She's Shannon Morse.
I'm Shannon Morse.
We're very excited. She's a little lagged right now. I think she's still using the DSL. It's okay, we're gonna get the Comcast line soon. 600 megabits!
Did you say 600 megabits? Buffer.
Oh, Jesus. We're going to have to, I think anyway, we'll get into that later, but I think there may be a lot of servers at the Hak5 warehouse come the time where we get all of the helibits that we don't.
Hey, we're having a party this weekend.
Oh, you should all be there. Let's not bury the lead. Hak5.org is where you can always find us, and if you put a trailing /brunch, then you'll find out all the details on how you can join us.
It's the one that falls forward.
Yes, it's like a roundhouse kick to the face, but it's actually just next to shift.
So we have some interesting segments for y'all today.
Y'all. I am very excited. I am showing off some open source goodness from the community because Trey built cool awesomeness that involves USB rubber duckies and Ruby on Rails.
Thank you,
allowing you to make your phone do the thing.
Wait, what?
Yes. We'll get into that in just a bit.
Cool.
What are we talking about with you?
Are you familiar with Google Authenticator?
Yes, I am.
You better be.
I use both Google Authenticator and the YubiKey U2F thingy.
Me too.
Yes.
So I found another Authenticator that runs off the same API, and this is called Authy, so I'll be checking that out today.
Rock on. Well, Paul, can we get some logo wipe? So if you're not familiar with USB Rubber Ducky, it's a very simple device. It's something that we have very close to our hearts, and it's basically a keystroke injection tool. You can write a payload and save that little guy on a micro SD card, load it into this little guy, and when you plug it into a computer, it enumerates as a human interface device. You've probably seen a bunch of stories recently about things like bad USB. This is that before that was a thing, and we built it out specifically to do this and sit inside a cute little case so that it looks like an innocuous little thumb drive. Very popular amongst the penetration testers right now, and it's a fantastic way to get all sorts of crazy payloads onto a unsuspecting device, say a Windows machine, like somebody walks away from it for a moment, they didn't do Windows key L to lock their machine or something, and you know, if you can get physical access to it, even for like 10 seconds, you can have it do like a one-line run command thing that enables a PowerShell reversed shell back to your, Metasploit. You get a interpreter shell in like one line with these guys. It's kind of amazing. Or you can just
rickroll people. And I am aware that bad USB is kind of different than the USB Rubber Ducky. We should mention that.
Yeah, well, no, you're right. You're right. It takes advantage of a whole bunch of other things in addition to just emulating keyboards with HIDs. And they also did some really fantastic research as far as finding unlocked bootloaders on things like webcams and things of that nature. So it is pretty cool. But I'm just here talking today about the human interface device kind of keystroke injection side of things.
Yay!
And with the help of Trey, a awesome Hak5 viewer, and some open source code he's written in Ruby on Rails. Yeah, that's the one. We're gonna load our own DuckEncoder server.
Ooh, wait, what?
Yeah, so check this out. If
Isn't there already a DuckEncoder?
Well, sure, you can go to usbrubberducky.com, and then under you can find out all about the awesome scripting language and head over to the forums. Oops. And under resources, there is an awesome Java DuckEncoder that we've done. There's a bunch of other community ones like Ducky Decode, which has a whole amazing amount of firmware and encoders that allow you to change your product ID and vendor ID and support multiple languages. And I have to give props here to a friend that put together the online Ducky script encoder, because this guy right here is fantastic. It allows you to create payloads right from a generator where you can just check some boxes like I want USB information and I want you to disable the firewall and all of those little things just by checking boxes and hitting next finish, which is really great. And it also has an online encoder, so you can just go ahead and typey your string hello world, and that would create a Ducky script that types hello world. It's that simple. Like the script is like 5 commands. It's easier than basic. And then from there you can choose your different languages, like here United States generate script. And Trey brought up an interesting point, and that is, as a penetration tester, you have like, I don't know, you just basically get a free pass when it comes to the tinfoil hat, which is like, hell yes. And why not roll your own so you don't even have to send your payload? I mean, I can totally understand if you're, say, doing a penetration test for Wells Fargo or some big bank, that they might not want you to be putting in a Ducky script and generating a bin file from an online resource run by hackers. So why not hack one together? And that is exactly what Trey did. And you can find it over at his GitHub here.
Yay.
And so I will go ahead and walk you through the setup process, because if you haven't used Ruby on Rails before, it can be a bit much. I'm doing this all in the latest version of Ubuntu 14.04 because I like TLS for the win. And there's a really simple way to get Ruby on Rails installed just using curl. And then you set your source using RVM.
Okay.
Once you've done that, it's really just a matter of cloning the Git repository. And I've already gone ahead and done that. But some things that I'm going to throw out here that I've learned in this process that weren't as intuitive as you might imagine are that you're going to need to get turbolinks. So hooray, dependencies. Simple enough, gem install turbolinks, TAC-V, and then I'm using 2.5.2. You also need to do a gem install on this thing called execjs. And basically, what that allows you to do is execute JavaScript within a Ruby on Rails environment, which is pretty cool. I also, and this is where things got interesting, that didn't solve the dependency issue with having a JavaScript interpreter. So I also installed the therubyracer using the same gem install. That's based on the Google Chrome V8 engine, which is a really fast JavaScript engine. Again, that did not solve everything. So you know what did though?
I hate dependencies.
apt-get install nodejs. I have no idea why that was necessary for my particular environment. So if you're running Ubuntu 14.04, it's all in the show notes. Okay, so you can pretty much copy and paste that if you're running the same distro I am, and it should, boom, Bob's your uncle.
Okay.
After that, then you can use bundle, which is a fantastic program to make all of this easy. Just run bundle install, and then everything will be all set up. And executing this is really just a matter of coming over to where you've installed your DuckEncoder. And this is where I've cloned it from the Git, and I've gone ahead and installed everything. I will point out, you will also need, you will also need a recent version of DuckEncoder. I'm using the community edition from Ducky Decode at code.google.com/p/duckydecode. This is an awesome resource here. And so that's what's in the DuckEncoder _263 folder, right? And so this is important because what I will need to do, one little configuration bit, is to go into DuckEncoder, go into config, and edit the config.yml file. And you just need to give it the directory to your particular DuckEncoder.
Oh, okay.
Once it has that, running it is simply a matter of doing Rails, S, TAC-P, and then choose a port number like 8000. You can choose port 80 if you do it with sudo. Otherwise, anything over 1024 will work. So now that server is running. And what's so cool about this is I can actually do this from any device with a web browser. Ooh. So here we go.
So you can do it from your phone too?
I can do it from my phone. And so what I do is I go over to in this case, it's running on the LAN, so it's on our internal IP address. And I pull it up on port 8000. And I have to give props for the interface. I love the little ninja duck. That's what's up, guys. And so you simply hit choose a file, and in your Android or whatever your OS is, it's going to pop up its default HTML choose a file thingy. And I just choose documents. And this is so great with the latest Android as far as like being able to either go into my personal favorite Astro File Manager. I use one of those little notepad guys on Android. No side rant here about there not being one built in. Or Dropbox. You find your Ducky script, and when you're done, you just hit create inject.bin, and it will go ahead and download that. And all of that was run on your own local server.
Wow.
And I've gone ahead and done that. And you know what's great? You know how we include with the USB Rubber Ducky a micro SD card reader? We also include the Otg adapter. And this is basically like
for Android phones.
Yeah, it's just like an Otg cable, except it's got a female end on one side and it's an adapter form instead of a cable, which is really convenient for when you plug your Ducky into your micro Otg adapter. Because now I can go, I can go into the phone straight like that. We've
Right.
demonstrated how to, for instance, brute force pin codes
Yes.
using one of these, but the same applies to the reader. And this is so great because basically,
yeah, that makes
pop my
sense.
SD card in here, plug it into my phone. So I'm on that website, I pop it, I can start working on my Ducky script right
Yeah.
there, save it to a file, run it through the encoder, and when I get my inject up in, I'll just save it, mount this as mass storage. And
So
then
then
when
you
I'm
can
done
just
with
save
that,
it in the root of your micro SD card and stick it back in your Ducky and you're good to go.
there you go, as inject
That's
up
awesome.
in. And if I go ahead and plug this into my computer now, you'll see
The Duckies bounce.
the Duckies do bounce. And hello world, I know.
Yay, it worked!
It's a very exciting
Hey, it's an
Ducky
easy test
script there.
script.
Yes, and you can likewise do the same thing just by going to no place like home. 127.0.0.1, your local host, port 8000 in my case. And there we go. I can browse, and I can find my Ducky script,
is so
and I can hit
cool.
generate, and boom, I get a little link to generate this, and I can save the file, and Bob's your uncle.
That's awesome.
And I just thought that was the coolest thing. So
Yeah.
Trey, thank you for sending that by. I think we're going to set this up on usbrubberducky.com or link to it so
Yeah.
that people can more easily do this or roll your own if you'd like to. And that's the coolest thing about this being open source and stuff. Everybody can get in and collaborate.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting to have time to do this. So it's fantastic that many hands make for simple work.
I love that. Yay, open community is super open fun.
Yes. Speaking of super awesome fun, I would like to tell you about our super fun sponsor, and we'll be back here in just a bit. It doesn't matter whether you like to put websites together with Ruby on Rails or CGI bin straight to bin bash. That's going to be fun. When you have that killer idea, you need to snag yourself a domain name and, web hosting pretty quickly. And you can do that over at domain.com. They've got this awesome domain discovery system, and their easy checkout process is super fast. It's going to have your website up and running in no time. And I've told you guys how much I love domain.com, mainly because they're affordable, they're reliable, they're easy to use, but also because they're super active on social media, and you can tweet them at domain.com and see why they are just a fun place to do business. And not only that, but the guys up there in Portland, they're huge fans of Hak5. They want to hook you up. So if you use the coupon code HAK5 at checkout, you're going to get an extra 15% off. So when you think domain names, think domain.com.
It is time for the trivia question of the week. Last week's trivia question was, what electronic device must be factory calibrated to the Earth's magnetosphere? And the answer is CRT monitors, because we all still have those, right? Right. This week's trivia question is, which computer programming language is an educational programming language designed in 1967 and modeled on the Lisp programming language? You can answer that at hak5.org/trivia for your chance to win some awesome Hak5 goodies. We're all pretty familiar with the Google Authenticator application that you use for pretty much all of your two-factor authentication, but I actually found a different application that you can also use, which works pretty much the same way, and this one is called Authy. So you can check it out over at authie.com. The reason why I wanted to bring up this one is because it's open source. It's also available for a bunch of different platforms. So you have, your usual platforms like Blackberry and iOS, and you have Android on here, but you also have OS X, Windows, and Linux. That's kind of weird, right? For two-factor authentication.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's got like a REST API. You can just
It
integrate this
does.
with whatever you're building.
So it's kind of interesting because you can pretty much add this to any website that you want to, since it is open. It's totally available. All of their code is on their GitHub.
Wow, they've got libraries for PHP, Ruby, bringing it back to that, Python, Node, Java. That I think covers all the bases.
So I wanted to give you
Fortran.
a brief explanation of how to set this up on your phone. So when you actually open it up, it'll just ask you to verify via your cell phone number and your email address. So it'll verify via a phone call or a text message, depending on which one you want, and then it'll just text you a PIN code, or it'll call you and say, this is your PIN code, please type this in. And then you can start adding all your different accounts. Now when you first start adding accounts, it's not going to give you a nice little PIN code. It'll first ask you if you want to store an encrypted copy of your accounts. So when you upgrade your phone or if you lose it, you can always go back and restore them. From there, you simply start adding all your different accounts and that allow codes to actually be created from those different websites. So Facebook is included in here. I believe Gmail is in here. There's also Dropbox and several other sites.
There's SSH. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at this. Looks
VPN.
Amazing.
So the Authie app, it comes with secure cloud backups. You can use it on multiple devices, so you can use this on your iPad as well as your phone as well. You also can use it on many different sites. Like I said, Facebook and Dropbox are on there, Amazon, Gmail. You can also protect your Bitcoins on here too. So that's pretty handy. It does support 256-bit keys, HOTP, and HMAC RFC, I think it's called 4426. And you can also do Bluetooth logins if your computer supports Bluetooth logins from your phone too. So kind of an interesting thing there. So the nice thing about this is it does look just like the Google Authenticator app. You know, they're both free, so it just kind of depends on which one you prefer. Whenever you set up a bunch of different applications, they all show up down here in a row, and you just click on whichever one you want to use. So right now I have Facebook set up with my little PIN code, and it changes every 20 seconds or so. But the interesting thing about this is there's also a Chrome extension. So you might be thinking, why would you want a Chrome extension if you want to do two-factor authentication? Because it's supposed to be something you know and something you have. So something I have would be my cell phone, right? The second authenticator. So the thing with the Chrome extension is you still need your phone to actually set up your account through the extension, because you have to get your PIN code from your phone, and you still have to know a separate login password for the Authenticator application on the extension itself. So if I pull it up on my computer, and you just get it from the Google site like you normally would, I'll pull it up over here, Authy Chrome extension. So first it asks you for a password, so this would be the first something you know. It'll load, and then you have access to whatever accounts you've set up. So here's my Facebook. And then it's going to ask me if you appear on a website that it doesn't recognize as Facebook, it'll give you a phishing alert. So this is kind of interesting. You attempted to use a Facebook token, but Facebook is not open. So that's kind of interesting. If I pull up Facebook though, and I'll just do it in a separate tab, an incognito window, so it'll actually log in. It won't automatically log in. So I hit login. And then I'll need to enter a code, so I'll go to my Authy extension, show token, and it'll give me my new token. So it still needs to have your login for Facebook, which you normally would need even if you didn't use 2FA, and you also need to have your password for Authy, as in the extension. And then you put in your code like normal, and you can log into your site. So under here, under account, you also have access to your cell phone number, your email, your master password for the Authy extension, the Authy account. Then you can go to your external accounts and find your Facebook one, your backup password for Facebook in case you lose your phone or something like that. And then you can also have access to your devices. So if I lost my phone, I could remove it straight from this application as well. And once you're through, you just have all of your applications set up right there. So it's very, very easy to set up. I think it's just one more very easy access way for people to get using two-factor authentication. It's just like the key-based thing last week. It doesn't necessarily require you to like be an ultra geek to be able to use it, but it helps you understand how to use public and private keys a little bit better.
I think one of the differences though is that Keybase is open source in the sense that you could just go ahead and clone their Git repository and roll your own Keybase, not keybase.io, but wherever you want to run that and have your own, like within your organization, like a private version of that. Whereas Authy, and while, you know, kudos to them because it looks like they've done a really great job, especially here with the SSH lockdown, like this 30-second install seems pretty simple to get. You know, something that we've done in the past with, say, a YubiKey, for example, you know, quite a hackery and timely process. They've made that really simple, and they've got the, you know, I've browsed around their GitHub, and so they do have all of those libraries, which makes it easy, but it's not open source in the sense that you can run your own server, right? And so that's fine though if you're just looking to get something spun up, you know, quickly, and if you trust them as your authority in this manner. It does, like, the pricing seems, you know, I just did like an estimate to see like what would it cost like Hak5 to have, like, you know, with the 5 of us here. and it's like $1.25 a month for their premium stuff. So that's cool. I guess it just matters that you trust them.
You still have to trust them with their
servers.
But
considering the way that two-factor works, it's not like if they get hacked, it's all over anyway. Yeah. So we should probably just point that out. But no, otherwise, it seems really cool. Yeah. And I wonder what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, I want to know what your thoughts are, and if there's another two-factor.
She does.
If there's another two-factor authenticator app that you use that I'm not familiar with, the only two I've used so far are Authy and then the Google one. So I would like to know if there's other ones out there. Not the battle.net or whatever it's called. I don't want to use that one.
I like Auth. Anyway.
Auth. Yeah,
yes.
Auth's good.
Good stuff. Okay, well, with all of that, we've reached the end.
We have.
We've made it. We made it all the way. There you go.
I want to do some more hacks.
I know, right? Well, now that we're mostly moved in, mostly, I've actually had a chance to,
starting to find
I
things.
don't know, spin up an Ubuntu machine. Actually, I'm very excited to revisit this guy. He's spinning up as our virtualization server again for another project that I have for next week that I'll be playing with over the holidays.
Yay.
And that one's going to allow us to do like Hangouts internally that don't use external bandwidth. It's going to be pretty cool. And then when we do get the bandwidth, we'll be able to invite people in, and I think it'll act as a backbone for
awesome.
our robots, the telepresence robots.
I want to buy breadboards.
Rowboats, for those who
I want
like
to
to
buy
make fun of my pronunciation.
breadboards and resistors.
I'm afraid that if you get a breadboard, you can do what you do with every piece of electronics, and that is put it in your mouth and try to bite into it, because she just does that. And it just seems apt that it is a breadboard in this case. So maybe a little paprika, I don't know, some cinnamon.
Yeah, that tastes good. Can I put it in the toaster?
Cinnamon toast breadboards. That's a hack coming right up. With that, we do want to again remind you about the brunch that is this weekend, I believe, when this is airing, which is December the 6th. So go to Hak5, HAK5.org, and go ahead and plunk in at the details, hak5.org/brunch.
Yep.
Also, hey, you know how? This is total tangent, but you remember how last week we were talking about like how you can always find Hak5 over at hak5.org. You can also, and it turns out it doesn't matter how you Google it, this is kind of a new feature I just wanted to point out. I just Googled Hak5, and isn't that the coolest thing? It actually says, you know, TV show, first episode aired August 5th, 2005. I'm not even logged in this instance. It recommends ThreatWire and Peeronage and Hacktip and Taxilla.
Is that a Wikipedia? Oh wait, no, we're not on Wikipedia because somebody deleted it.
This is actually like built into Google now, and so I maybe you want to hit feedback and give general feedback and just say that this is awesome and less than 3. You know, I don't know. I think that's a really cool feature, because now when we tell people like, oh, hak5.org, turns out you can spell it incorrectly, HACK5. Same thing.
That's great.
Yes.
So I'm so glad that works. That's really
cool.
exciting.
Yes. Let us know what you think. Feedback at hak5.org. You can also find all the ways to follow us over at hak5.org/follow. Get on all the socials and tweet at us and all of those things.
And you can always support us over at hakshop.com.
That's what makes this keep going. That the wheels go round kind of thing. So thank you for everybody that has supported that. And of course, you know, it's the holiday season, so there's all sorts of good stuff going on over at hakshop.com.
Yeah. Sales, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. With all of that, I'm Darren Kitchen.
I'm Shannon Morse.
Trust your techno-us.
Bye-bye.
Do it. I knew you were going to do it. I'm like, ah.
Bye-bye. I hope you were recording that.
Do the thing. We're gonna do the thing. Do the thing. Make it do the thing. We're going to do the thing. Make it do the thing. Make it do the thing. We're gonna do the thing.
And next week's question is, or this week's question is, damn it, you messed it up.
I had my Haxor flakes for breakfast, Paul. I'm ready to rockzor.
Hey, Billy.
Yeah? So you're saying that something made out of celluloid, whatever that stuff is rotating around like physical media. There's actual like turning, mechanicalness involved in this. Why don't you fire on the SSD, Paul? It doesn't sound as good as roll the tape. Roll the tape. Yes. You know what? If you were a stuffed animal,
I think that's
Shannon,
what she said.
You'd be sideways monkey.
Aww.
Yeah. Just gonna put that out there.
Okay.
Like this video if you know what sideways monkey is.